welcome back to the AI Marketer's Playbook, where we cover actionable frameworks to help you leverage AI and marketing strategies in your business. I'm Audrey Chia, and today I have with me Jimmy Wigerstedt, the co-founder of Revenue Agency, specializing in AI-powered marketing and sales automation systems. Now, after diving headfirst into AI and automation, Jimmy quickly became hooked on exploring cutting-edge integrations and automation possibilities. His expertise spans from CRM integrations, self-hosted automated workflows, and advanced dataset management for large language models. Now, with a robust focus on funnel management, content creation, and transcription, Jimmy will unpack how businesses can effectively leverage AI for content creation. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Hey, thanks, Audrey. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for joining us. Now, for listeners who don't quite know you, can you tell us a bit more about your backstory? And before even starting your current agency, what were you doing?
I got a pretty mixed background. I originally come from HR and social sciences, actually, but I never really found a home there. But, when ChatGPT dropped a couple of years back, that really unlocked something in a lot of us, I think. All of a sudden, you had this personal mentor at your fingertips, and the sky's the limit then, right? All you had to do was put words to your thoughts and formulate your questions clearly, and all of a sudden you can start climbing in any direction that you want. So I pivoted hard into AI and automation because I saw the potential there in a lot of areas in business. But I never really found a direction for my creativity, so to speak. So that's when I partnered up with my buddy Ruben, and he was very much into LinkedIn and sales. And we started discussing things back and forth like friends do. And we quickly discovered that, hey, there's potential here, right? He had this business sense. He had a marketing and sales sense. I brought the AI and automation part of the equation, and we just kind of combined. So now we're making, like you put it, the cutting edge of AI and automation within marketing and sales. And recently we narrowed down our offering. We focused on our most impactful automations, and that became our content engine that we might talk a bit to later.
Yeah, wow, it's super cool to hear how you pivoted part actually. I mean, like a HR role versus what you're doing now is worlds apart, right? Which is really, really interesting to see. I think one thing that businesses still don't really know is the full potential of AI. So given that you've explored so much, right, what is currently possible for business owners right now?
I would say what's not possible.
Wow.
And that's an area that's constantly shrinking in a sense, what is not possible. But I think the hardest unlock, I would say, or what we found at least businesses are most struggling with is since they might be unfamiliar with the tech, they haven't really got a good sense of what is possible. And that makes it really difficult to start exploring use cases because you don't want to end up on a winding path that never really leads you anywhere.
Yes.
So the most difficult thing when beginning AI adaptation is asking the right questions, identifying the bottlenecks, and don't be afraid to explore and try. And you will really quick realize that, hey, there is a way forward here.
Yeah.
If we can at least start automating this process to 50%, I mean, that's ROI right there. So aim for efficiency. As you learn, you're gonna end up where, hey, got an automated business here.
Yeah, I love what you said about looking for that problem, right? And then looking for those bottlenecks and kind of putting the pieces together, because that is a more strategic and tactical approach to solving anything with AI. Like what I tell my clients, don't just use AI for the sake of it, use it to solve an actionable use case. I think that's when you see the greatest kind of uplift in your results, right?
For sure.
Yeah, and I would love to know, Jimmy, because you also mentioned you came together with your co-founder. So how did you blend both the AI part of things with your co-founder's sales experience or LinkedIn experience? Like, what was that process like? Talk to us about it.
It's quite a funny story, actually. He knew I had a knack for automation, and I kind of got a brief sense of what he was into, right? So I first started out way back, as many people do, perhaps with Zapier. That's one of the automation tools. It's got the lowest bar of entry, I would say. It's quite quick to whip up something to show in Zapier. They've come a long way since then, but anyway, that's where I started out. So what I did, I made a content creation automation using Trello, that project management service. And I
Yes.
hooked up SAPs in the back end that would kind of trigger as you moved your projects around the canvas. I just pulled up the Trello app in my phone. Hey man, check out. What do you think of this? And he started swiping, and the content started popping up,
Yeah.
and he could ideate and input all these variables and stuff. And he was like, dude,
Wow.
we can sell this. We can sell this. And I was like, really? You think so? Yeah, there's a demand for this. People need to solve this problem. So we're like, okay, heck it, let's do it. And we started iterating on that project hard. So what you do when you develop a product in any area is like, don't be afraid to start.
Yes.
You need to the
Get
foot
it
should
done.
be
Put in the work.
exactly
Just do
exactly
it.
hit the pavement, right?
Yeah.
Start running. And then as you navigate the space, you will accumulate feedback from left and right, and then you reiterate on the product.
Yes.
And as you navigate, you're going to come closer and closer to the optimal solution, and then you get the market fit, and then you're in, right?
Yes.
So we started off with Trello, Zapier, and now we've expanded this into a full-fledged automation suite that uses Airtable as an interface and database
Yes.
with an N8N backend for the logic. And this goes way beyond content creation in a sense, because what I see most content AI automation solutions offer
Yes.
is, sure, they spit out good content as long as you know what to write, as long as you provide valuable input. And that goes for most LLMs, of course. But we really wanted to create a suite of automations that can solve big problems. So what Ruben told me, and this was new to me, I've never been into sales and marketing before. He taught me so much. He told me about sales funnels. That was an alien concept to me 2 years ago.
Wow.
How different pieces of content serves different purposes. You educate your audience on the problem,
Yeah.
and you drive them closer to a deal, right? And he told me, when you want to do content for real, you don't just put in a news link and hope for the best. You create a content plan, right? You plan out your content. You want to stay consistent in your content so that as your audience grows, you put your name out there and you lead them towards, hey, you're the guy that's going to, or girl, that's going to solve this problem for you.
Yeah.
So in our suite of automations, we generate an ideal customer profile. We generate a content plan, and then we automate the entire content plan so that you have a framework for the AI to work to. Because that way you don't have to sit down by your AI tool and be like, okay, I got this tool. What do I do now?
Yeah.
So you always get a direction. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you said, right, that really resonated is it's not enough to just create content. You need the content strategy behind it. And I think a lot of AI tools out there, even though they are great for helping people create content, perhaps they are talking about trending topics or, trying to recreate a viral post. But that doesn't always lead to sales. That doesn't always talk to your prospect or target their pain points and motivations, which is why I think it's very smart to think about content systems as a way to combine both strategy then execution instead of just going straight to execution, which I think you mentioned is what you guys are doing, right?
Exactly right. I mean, whenever you sit down and like, hey, we're going to plug in some AI workflows here, what's the metric that you're going to evaluate this AI tool at the end of the day? Is it likes? Is it comments? Or is it money in the bag? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can spit out rather successful posts with a lot of likes and comments because you managed to be first on the ball on some news. And sure, that might lead to sales down the road as you kind of grow your audience. I get that part. But sure, you can be an influencer, but if that doesn't at the end of the day lead to higher conversions and more sales, then yeah. Are you sure you're doing it right?
And what do you think is that secret? What do you think is that gap between just content for content's sake, right, and content that drives sales? Have you seen tangible kind of difference between both types of content? What is
Yes.
that thing that moves the needle?
Agitate pain points. That is something that I found out to be extremely important. It hits all the funnel stages in a sense.
Yes.
The top of the funnel content, when you agitate a pain point, I mean, that's bringing something to your attention. You got this problem, see, and it's causing these issues. This is what you're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
And as you go down the funnel stage and you produce different kinds of content, sure, you're gonna write different types of posts, but let's be honest here. FOMO has been a very successful strategy since the invention of capitalism, in a sense. So if you can agitate pain points, and don't get me wrong, it's not deceptive. It's really not. I mean, you've seen hundreds of businesses. You've worked with a lot of clients. How many times haven't you sit down with a client and they'll be like, shit, I never thought of this. How much have this costed us the last year because we were not aware of this problem? So don't be afraid to agitate those pain points as long, and I assume, that you have a valuable and productive solution to that problem.
It's very interesting, right? Because you didn't just say highlight their pain points, you said agitate their pain points, which I think from a copywriter's perspective, it's a tactic that, you know, we love using, because sometimes even your customers don't know what their problem is. And if you don't bring it to them, then they won't see the value in your solution. And I think a lot of people like to talk about, oh, I do copywriting. Yes, that is the service, right? But what is the pain point you're trying to solve? So, for example, a client who has spent thousands of dollars on ads and the ads are not converting because the copy on the landing page isn't working. Now you actually found the problem that you want to agitate so that you can then bring your solution to the table. And I think, like what Jimmy, you mentioned very beautifully, don't just talk about the problem, you know, spend some time agitating it and then educating with the solution. I think that would be amazing. So I know you also talked about using AI to identify your ideal customer profile. Can you tell us more or show us how you guys do it in your workflows?
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, all right, let's have a look here.
So for our listeners who are tuning in on Spotify, on Apple, Jimmy is going to show us a bit of a demo, but you can also find this video on YouTube if you want to watch it right there.
It says the host has, you need to enable share screen.
Okay, there. Give me a second. I'm just going to see if I can give you. Okay, I'm going to make you the host first so that it's easier for you to. Okay, awesome. See if that
there
works.
There we go. Look at this.
Awesome.
All right, do you see my screen?
It's loading. Give us a second. Okay, good to go, Jimmy.
All right, let's see. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, we built like a suite of automations that can handle all kinds of things. And we were recently talking about creating the ideal customer profile. And whenever you want to use AI in any context, you need food for the AI. And this is the context window, right? You want to load it up with almost as much as possible, as long as it's relevant, right? So this tool that we made, it's designed to help agencies. So this is for teams that serves lots of clients.
Yes.
This is not a one profile tool. This is a multiple profile tool. So what you do is you can load up these profiles. And each of these profiles represent one client. Do you see any client that's familiar here?
I wonder. I see a great orange one right there.
Yeah,
looks familiar.
Yeah, I thought I saw that before.
It looks familiar. Awesome.
Yeah, let's check it out. So this is your profile. If you had clients, they would each have their own profile, right? So you get the profile description here. This is your LinkedIn URL. To provide food for this AI, we need company files. Perhaps I asked you previously for like a sales stick or something like that. Most companies have these promotional files lying around. You can upload these files to this tool. And in this case, I generated a file for you. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
So this is a document about your core services and products.
Awesome.
AI and automation, strategic services, ongoing support. Sounds familiar, perhaps. But most of the time, you have a lot of files.
Yeah.
And you just shove it all in here. It's food for the AI so that it can actually produce valuable stuff.
Yes.
And then it can also generate an ideal customer profile for you.
Interesting.
So it uses the files you uploaded and it performs a website scrape to get a more fleshed out sense of your business. And this is not just for show. I know a lot of companies pay just to get an ideal customer profile, but we generate it because it's so important when you want to produce relevant content. This is what it's generated. You can go in and edit it. Most companies perhaps already have an ideal customer profile. They just paste it in here.
Ooh.
You got the personas that you're trying to target, some go-to-market recommendations. And this is almost like the key direction for the AI when we go on to create the content strategy. And this will be the foundation for the content creation for this profile. Remember, each of these profile has their own ICP and their own strategy, so you can keep it all nice and neat, right? So if you were to need a content strategy, I'm sure you got your nailed down, but then it would spit out a content strategy for you. You got your unique selling points, your personal branding, and this is your offering, right? AI consulting, yeah. Your target audience that you want to target with your content.
Wow, I'm very impressed. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty spot on. I was like, wow, it's pretty spot on right there.
Yeah. We get the tone and style because you want to stay consistent, right? Some high-level sales narratives. The content scaling crisis. I mean, you need to scale your production if you want to stay relevant. The AI implementation gap and the trust scale paradox. Those were the suggested sales narratives for your content. And it makes a lot of sense. I've run into this issue myself. I mean, there is a gap there when it comes to trusting AI generated content. And that's also what we're trying to solve here. So yeah. Expanded sales narratives. You want to keep a diverse set of content because you're planning out a plan, right? Personal branding. And then we get down to some good stuff. Content pillars. This was also a concept that I was not familiar with like 2 years ago. Like, yeah, you need to stick to your topics.
Yeah.
If you want to attract and retain an audience, you need to write about stuff that are interesting to your ideal customer profile. Yeah. So if you stick to some content pillars, you're going to make sure that each piece of content hits the right spot.
Yes.
AI transformation in marketing. That's what you write about. Strategic copywriting insights. That's why people come to you, right? Case-based success stories. That's awesome. It generates a lot of trust. Funnel alignment, how you want to distribute your content. And an overview. Some additional execution notes.
Wow.
And as well,
it's very thorough. It's very comprehensive.
It's important. It's very important. Yeah. And I mean, people are going to look at this and be like, hey, the ideal customer profile didn't cover this part, or the content strategy didn't cover this part. But keep in mind here, whenever you create or feed the AI, you only want to feed it stuff that's relevant for the task at hand. I'm not generating newspaper ads. I'm not generating Facebook reels or ads in this case. I'm not writing email copy in this tool. So you want to tighten down the ICP and the content strategy to what's relevant for the task.
Yes.
And this is what we've done here.
Wow.
So once this setup is done, mind if I take a small detour here?
Yeah, please go for it. I'd love to take a peek.
Yeah, we got the LinkedIn brand voice here as well. So when you go here to set this up, you get all your profiles here, all your clients are loaded up here. You can add a LinkedIn brand voice. So you paste in a LinkedIn URL, and it's whenever you produce LinkedIn content, it's going to emulate that style.
Wow.
So most of the time, you might have a solid track record. You have a lot of content on your back. You just load up your own profile, keep going, right? But perhaps you onboard a new client. They haven't developed their own brand style yet. Then you can help them start off on a strong foot. You load up a profile that you know produce solid content, and then you can create and adjust that tone for your client as well. But once that is done, how many posts should we plan? Let's plan out an entire month, or perhaps 2 months. And you know what? For the sake of time, let's go for 12 posts. You can pretty much plan out 2 or 3 months worth of content here in one go. If you got any additional input here, you're free to put it in. Perhaps you get a relevant YouTube, perhaps you got a blog, or if you want to pull inspiration from other LinkedIn creators, you're free to add that as context as well. Get some AI feedback here, because we noticed that in our evaluation, you recall way back when I talked about how you want to iterate on your product.
Yes.
Whenever you create AI systems, you want to make sure that the systems provide feedback to the user, because most of the time we noticed that AI and automation is sort of like a black box for your clients. They just push a button and like, okay, let's hope for the best. But if you provide this feedback, like, hey, something's going on, we're almost done, that gives much better feel for the product, and it becomes a more solid automation in general.
Definitely. It's like you are purchasing something online or you're loading something, and it's just great when you know which part of the process you're in. I think that user experience is as important, even in the AI journey, right? Because people think that AI means instant, but sometimes you still need time to process that. And the users on their end would probably like to know which stage of their journey they're at and what to expect next. And that really helps the user feel like they're enjoying the process so much more.
Exactly. And look at this. We have a content plan for you, Audrey.
Wow.
So here we got this week. We got the overview topics here. You got the calendar view. It planned out 1.5 months. You got the funnel stages here that we discussed previously. So let's check out some of these. Here we got the trend post, for example.
Got it.
It's a good top of the funnel piece of content. And I want to touch briefly on this post framework. It might provide inspiration for everyone else producing content out there as well. If you want to make sure to produce diverse content in a plan, I pulled some inspiration myself from a pretty well-known LinkedIn dude, Justin Welsh.
Yes.
And he has this context matrix where he has like, what's the purpose of the post? What's the theme of the post?
Yeah.
So we map on your entire strategy into this matrix, and then it spits out the suggestions. So you get a diverse set of topics over the content plan as well. And for this case, insights and AI trends in marketing. This is not very specific, right? This was very, very general, and we can't do anything with that. So what we want to do is we want to flesh out this idea. And depending on the topic, you might want to do an internet search as well. So you get this little check button here. And this is a toggle because some topics might not require research, while some others, it's a requirement. If you get some websites or YouTube URLs, you can plug it in there as well. And then you flesh out this idea. So now it's going to perform research. It's going to go into your files, look into your offering. It's going to scan out your ideal customer profile. It's going to go out on the internet and hopefully look for AI trends in marketing, right? But in the context of your ideal customer profile.
Smart.
So instead of just hoping that your feed, wherever that might be, inspire you, you will instead draw inspiration from your content plan.
Got it.
Yes.
Wow.
So that way you stay consistent. So you're going to create content from the bottom up.
Yes.
Content plan, ideation, content creation. Instead of just lingering up here at the top and be like, where's an idea? What should I write about?
Yes.
It doesn't matter how many cool AI tools you have if you get no idea where to go with it.
Definitely.
So the research is complete. You get some links here to relevant topics for AI trends. You can go in, check it out. So now you get a much more expanded topic idea. Now this is something we can work with. You get a couple of hooks here as well. And once your topic is nailed down, you can, of course, you can edit here as you wish. You get your ideated idea. And now it's time for the copywriting itself. If I like this topic, I might want to add more platforms as well. Say we want to do an Instagram post or a Facebook post on this topic. You pick your favorite books. 5, yeah. And yeah, we might want to, yeah, let's do something like that. You pick out your favorite source, of course. And the post is going to stay relevant. You can add your own sources as well. And once you copyright this post, it's going to produce the pieces of content. But since we're marketing this to agencies, going through these posts one by one might not be fast enough if you're managing, say, 10 to 12 clients. So once you've ideated your posts, and we got the Audrey one, you can ideate your entire content plan. You just go through the content plan, make sure that, hey, yeah, I want to write about this stuff. You bulk ideate this content plan.
Yeah, wow.
You go grab a coffee, and when you get back, you get like 2 months worth of ideas.
Yeah.
You check them out.
Yeah. I can see how much time it might save someone, especially if you are running it for multiple clients. And then now you can be like in the right frame of mind to just, power through them and really review that content in a single sitting, which can be very powerful.
Exactly. Because you touched upon a very important topic there. You still want to keep the human element.
Yes.
We don't recommend going straight from AI to publishing. So once everything is generated, you want to export your content plan. So with a push of a button, you can export the entire content plan, whether it's ideated or written. It doesn't matter. If it's written, you'll get it all. But, some of your clients, they want to be involved,
Yeah.
right? They want to sign off on the ideas.
Yeah.
They want to put their stamp on approval of whatever goes out there. And I can totally respect that.
Yeah.
But we want to make it convenient.
Definitely.
Right? Let's see, did I load up the right one here?
I would love to also take a look at the final output. I think it'll be very interesting to see what does that final post look like, because we've been through the whole process of ICP, content plan, figuring out how do we pull insights from the internet, from relevant websites, and it'll be really cool to see what is that final output. And I think go ahead.
Do you have a content creator that is dear to your heart?
Oh, my
besides yourself, of course.
My content creator is me with ChatGPT mobile. We do really well. It's just 1 minute. And I get my content out.
Yeah. But should we do you then? Or would that be weird?
No worries. Just go for I would just love to take a look and see, what kind of output you're gonna get.
Yeah. We do have a default output if you don't add a brand style.
Yeah.
And those prompts are there you go. Those prompts are customizable as well.
Got it.
Because everyone's different, right?
Yes.
You can't have a one size
fits all
fit
approach.
all. No. I mean, then every piece of content would look identical, right? So yeah, let's nab your style here. Why not?
Let's take a look at that. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are still listening and are not seeing the screen, Jimmy has plugged my LinkedIn profile into the AI content engine, and now it's generating my brand voice that's unique to my personal post on LinkedIn, and we can see what it extracts and also like what kind of content it creates after this.
So now it's done, and you're free to share this with your other profiles as well. Say you get a lot of clients that want to use one particular style.
Yes.
Anyway. Okay, so when we go to our copywriting here, we have this post that we ideated here. 3 AI marketing trends reshaping how teams work in 2025. So let's slap in our LinkedIn brand voice there. And so now it's going to perform a research step first. It's going to go out on the internet. It's going to check out the URL that we left in there.
Got it.
We haven't reviewed this one, so let's hope it's relevant. It's going to check out your ideal customer profile and any files that you're uploaded. See if there's any relevant data in there for this particular topic. I actually looked closer here at the prompt itself, and it wasn't actually general marketing trends, but it was marketing trends that stand out from our client work. Ooh. So that's kind of how insight from you, so to speak, in what's going on with your clients. So it's almost like a mini case study of sorts then. So it stick to the ideation prompt. And if I had activated some other channels as well, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, it would be populated down here as well.
Wow. And I love that the copy actually, like the tone of voice is very similar to my tone of voice. And it's also following my structure, my style, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So
Wow.
when you bulk generate this content, say you've ideated your entire content plan, and then you're going to do a bulk copyright, you as a content creator goes to a more editorial workflow. You will become almost like an editor.
Yeah.
And you go through the content, you make some touch-ups, kind of like a line cook, the master chef at the
Yes.
end of the table. He checks out the plating, and yeah, that's good enough to serve, right?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
instead of being a chef running around the kitchen all panicked, you're more like a line cook, checking out the dishes, adding some garnish, sending it back to the kitchen, more of a quality control way of working. And
Awesome.
that's also where your personal expertise come in as well.
Yes.
Because I think many people might be disillusioned that AI can do everything from A to Z. And even if that might be true in some cases, you still want to maintain that marketing edge and provide your unique perspective on things, your quality control. So this is about distilling down what makes you you, putting it in the place where it matters the most, that is the quality control, to allow you to scale
Yeah.
without losing that quality.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really awesome demonstration. Thanks so much for that, Jimmy. And I think it really goes to show like how much detail, right, and depth in terms of the thought processes that you and your co-founder has. Because I can very clearly tell that it's not a one-shot thing where you're just pulling out random frameworks, right? You're going through a very systematic process that any content strategist and LinkedIn writer would do, understanding the clients, understanding the trends, doing your research, tone of voice, then putting it all together and forming the final output, which is why it's such a high quality output compared to most other, perhaps more generic tools out there. Super cool.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah,
Awesome.
and it was really fun to build. I mean, I'm a builder at heart.
Yeah.
So making this stuff and getting feedback from our clients like, hey, you should do that. You should add this. It's my dream work, really. I
Wow.
love what I'm doing.
Wow.
And I really appreciate your invitation. I really love talking about this stuff. So
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah, and I can also see your passion, which is always cool
Yeah.
to hear. And maybe some final questions before we wrap up, Jimmy. So I
Please.
think one thing that most people have is perhaps a fear, potential fear of AI. As you can see, AI right now is replacing a huge chunk of the workflows, not everything, but a huge chunk, right? So what would you say to people who are perhaps on the fence or on the other side of not using AI? What do you want to say to them?
To ease their fear, perhaps? Well, I would say that your domain expertise is still going to be valuable. And I think that your domain expertise combined with AI is going to produce results that's still going to keep you relevant.
Yeah.
So it's not about a threatening phenomenon coming in from the sea to
Yeah.
wipe us all away. It got the potential to make more out of you,
Yes.
in a sense. And if you can learn to harness that wave, that power, then you can ride the wave instead of being washed up and end up in a palm tree or something.
Yeah, like the one quote I like to use is you either fight the current or you ride the tide, right? And I think like what you said, being able to ride the AI wave is extremely important. So I think we will see a lot more automated processes, but like what you said, that human touch or that human perspective is always important, and someone can use this tool, right? But if that someone isn't going to review the work and have a critical lens, you're just going to be putting out content out there that may or may not hit the mark, and you really
Mm.
need that additional lens so that whatever work you put out, you know that it's high quality work, reflective of your brand, reflective of your target audience pain points, and something that you actually have a solution for. So that human AI approach is extremely important. And Jimmy, what would you say to someone who is at the beginning of their AI journey? So think about yourself maybe 2+
Yeah.
years ago. What would you have wanted to tell yourself?
just sit down and have a chat with ChatGPT. I think many people might be afraid just to sit down because they might be afraid of making a fool out of themselves, perhaps. But who's watching anyway? First of all, it's a robot. It's not going to judge you. And just start this probing process to explore the capabilities. Like many people that I've noticed look at it more like a glorified Google, but that is the wrong way of looking at it.
Yeah.
It's not a search tool. It's a collaboration tool. So you shouldn't ask it questions. You should give it tasks.
Yeah.
And that's a very big difference, actually. Because once you start giving it tasks rather than questions, you will find yourself in a position where your follow-up questions or follow-up instructions flows naturally from the output from the AI.
Yes.
And as you begin this dialogue, you will naturally get a sense of the capability, and your domain knowledge will start to find areas where this might be applicable.
Definitely.
And once you start that exploration process, then you're done. Then you started climbing that wave on the right path.
I think you can already tell from Jimmy's voice that he is extremely passionate and excited about the potential of AI, and that's also how I personally feel about it. So for those of you who are listening, I think if you're still on the fence, the best way to get started is to just try using ChatGPT. It doesn't have to be ChatGPT or any other AI tool, but then it gives you the opportunity to start understanding the potential and possibilities, which is the most exciting part of things. So thank you again for joining us, Jimmy. Now, where can our listeners find you, and who should reach out to you?
You can find me on revenueagency.com, or I like to hang out a lot on LinkedIn. So if you search Revenue Agency there or my last name, check out the description. That's my handle on LinkedIn. You can find me there as well. And I love to geek out about this stuff. So just shoot a message.
So folks, you know who to message on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for joining us, Jimmy.
Yeah, it was so fun.
I had a great time. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you, folks, for tuning into. And don't forget to hit the bell for more actionable AI and marketing insights. We'll see you next week on the AI Marketers Playbook. Take care.